Alright, so I had a comment that I found to be quite humorous, and it also made me realize that there are still a lot of really dumb people out in the world that, think they know better than people that actually deal with stuff, their stuff on a daily basis. And one of them is this GSI grain dryer. So the comment was, Mother Nature takes, knocks shit over, and rural people have to clean up their own messes because, city people, they got their ass wiped for them. It's amazing. And that is true. But the other one was that, but will this farmer put a roof over top of the grain dryer, or will he allow it to fill up with water? Not this farmer, he'll let it fill up with water. Well, it would take a flood of biblical proportion. Now we're talking Noah's Ark here, and to fill this thing up, meaning that the water would have to go clear over the top of the grain dryer in order for it to fill with water. And I would also like people to understand that a roof over a grain dryer is not necessary. We put a roof over the grain dryer years ago because we would actually pretty near roast soybeans. We would superheat soybeans in the old grain dryer, and you could do it with this one a lot easier than that one, but we would superheat them and basically roast them for the dairy, for the cows. We would steam these motherfuckers into the point where they were just boiling hot in there. And so that's why the roof was over there, and then we would feed them out of the dryer into the grinder mixer because, well, it just produced better butter fat. We used to have a company called Schnups Grain Roasting come and do that job for us, but we don't anymore. We didn't anymore. We decided that we could do it with the grain dryer really basically until she started to smoking. When she started to smoking, then it was a pretty good deal. Now, it didn't do a perfect job, but it did the job. But anyways, that's the only reason that this thing had a roof on it. Now, if you look carefully, and you can see it right there, this machine is perforated with holes. That's how the air goes through. You can see through to the other side. Maybe my camera's not going to get... There's a spot of light you can see through there. That's how the air gets through this machine. And at the very bottom, there are doors. Here, I'll close it up. See that? You can open and close those doors. They're clean-out doors. So if water is to get in, it just goes down and comes out the bottom. So to that very foolish person that made that foolish comment, there you go. There you have it. That's what you were saying is 100% false. This machine cannot fill up with water. I can take you 2 miles to my north and show you a dryer that sits out in the open, and I believe it's a 3-burner one. Sits out in the open. Nobody cares. It doesn't really matter too much. I mean, of course it's better to have things under cover. And yes, there will be a building built back over the top of this, but here I'll show you the control panel here. It has rubber gaskets in here. All this is rubber gasketed. There's no water in here. And besides, any water that could get in here will leak back out that side anyway. So it's sealed at the top, but there's a drainage here. There's drainage here on this end for water to come out or air to breathe in and out of it. So it will definitely be protected. This is not the ideal dryer. I would not have bought this dryer if we weren't in a pickle. I mean, back in 2011, I think it was, maybe 2012. 2011 was when we put this one in because the other one's just caught on fire and burned. So I had to replace it with this, and we couldn't get a twin fan one, a 2-fan one, so we got what you call a continuous batch dryer. Took a little bit of time to figure out how to make this thing work, but what a continuous batch dryer does, of course this is only a single fan, and it's a massive fan too. I mean, and it works. I could start it up for you, I believe. Let me see if I can get that fan to start. I have that off, so you kind of do this, and that puts the power to it, right? I might have this thing completely shut off. I don't know. That's on. I think I do have it off. Do I have it off? Oh, control power. Boom. There she comes. See? Copyright 93, 94. So this thing is like 25 years old. And hit the start button, no? Well, let me think here. It's been a while since I ran this thing. Heater is off. That reset button. Now it comes on. Okay, fan 1 failure, no airflow. So, now we can hit that, and we can turn the control power off, and we'll shut this power here off as well, which is a reset. When those Cutler hammer switches there is an emergency here. You can push that, and that'll shut it completely off as well. It's good to run it every once in a while, and you can run the augers. They're DC motors because they're all on varied drives, and they're Baldors or Baldors. I actually like the dryer once I learned how to use it, because you can really put the heat to this thing. And what we would do is on the batch mode, it's very inefficient. But the batch mode is you fill it up, you set this thing, here's your thermostat here, moisture control thermostat, and you set it to the temperature you need it to be in the thermal couplings. And what that will do is that'll bring that corn up to that level of heat, or beans or whatever you're drying in here, and then it will dry for a set amount of time versus the moisture of the corn going in, the amount of heat that you want to put to it, and the time that you want it to dry. Now, if you dry it too fast, you will lose test weight. Everybody knows that, I would hope. If you don't know that, now there you go, there's a bit of information. So you kind of really want it to go on a slow dry. And what I would do is I would run it continuous, and then I would cool it in the bin. Now, on good heavy days of corn, when you're running thousands of bushels through this thing a day, you're going to get some hot corn in that bin. And our bin fan wasn't really working too well towards the end. We did have some spoilage because of it, but it needed a bigger fan. And if I ever do go back into corn, which I still would like to do, I would definitely repair that bin, put a squirrel cage fan inside, and get huge volumes of air going through there to cool it faster. Because, you know, with this continuous, it goes in, it dries down to a certain level. There's a humidistat in there, and it will dry that corn to say 15.5. We would go 16.5, and then as it cooled in the bin, it would come down to 15.5. Which is where you want it to be. We would always run it to about 16.5 out of this, and then it would cool down to about 15 in the bin. But the problem is that the trough system that's in that is junk, and it caused spoilage on the ends and just made a hell of a mess. I'd never do it that way again. But anyway, on the continuous mode, it will bring that corn down to 16.5% moisture, and then the fans or the augers and the metering rolls would kick on or speed up, and then they would slow down as it needed more time to dry, and it would continuously do that. And there were times when it would dry down. You'd get a spot in the field, or the moisture in the corn was not quite as high as you thought it was going in, and before you know it, this thing is flooding the augers. And flooding the auger that goes up to the bin, causing a chain reaction that caused a big mess and burnt belts, and it was just a bad system. I would like to move this thing, actually turn it completely around, and run a trough over that way to an auger that goes up to the other bin, or just completely move it over there where it can go up into the bin on a leg or something, if I ever go back into the grain business. And with the deer problems that we do have, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But yes, we will be putting a new roof over the top of this thing. I'm going to do it a little differently than my father had done. And here comes Carl. Here he comes. Mr. Carl. I see his legs, you know. Carl likes to wear shorts. I can't do that. Okay, so we got lots of work going on here today. Got the 7530 on the new baler there. I will be running that one today. And there goes the 8530. Miss Teresa and William are running that one. Yeah, we're back in business with that one. So we should be doing pretty good. I'm going to talk to her. Say, hey, make sure you check that bale count. And yeah, so we'll be really trying to get as much done as possible. As you can look up here, let me zoom back out again, which I don't like to not have it zoomed in. You see we got turbulent skies. It's a pain in the ass. We've been dealing with turbulent skies now for quite some time, getting tired of it actually. And I'd really like for summer to actually be summer and not this bullshit of rain every other day. It's driving me absolutely nuts. So what I'm seeing is Cody coming around the corner there, and we should be gearing up to go on this side. And he's having, oh no, there's just so much material in there. Holy shit. Yeah, so I will take on that one and he can take on this one and we should be good to go. Yeah, I'm going to let Teresa and Joseph do these fields here. And there we go. Alright, I'll shut up and just do it.